When you're hunting for a microscope, you don't want a shelf sitter that looks impressive on paper but ends up gathering dust because it's a pain to set up, or it forces you to squint at a dim image after hours of work. You want something that slides into your workflow, lets you focus on the part you're inspecting, and actually feels worth the price tag. That's the exact dilemma I faced before I tried the Omano Premium Zoom Stereo Inspection Microscope, and it's why I spent a few evenings actually mounting it, checking a few circuit boards, looking at some jewelry settings, and even pulling apart a tiny mechanical watch. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with a stereo microscope in this price range is whether the zoom range is truly usable or just a marketing number. 6.5 to 45 times sounds broad, but if you can't get a stable, clear view at the extremes, you're back to the drawing board. I started by mounting the V7 articulating boom on a sturdy workbench and ran the 80 LED ring light at a low setting while I examined a printed circuit board with tiny SMD components. The zoom moved smoothly, and the image stayed bright and evenly lit all the way up to about 33 times. That's the sweet spot where I could see solder joints and trace paths without having to constantly refocus. When I pushed past 40 times, the field of view narrowed noticeably, which is expected, but the image still held enough contrast to spot a missing pin. If you need to inspect things at the absolute limit, you'll have to accept that you'll see a smaller area and may need a little extra patience. What really set this microscope apart for me was the Binocular Eyepieces WF10. They're not just a generic pair. The wide field design means my eyes don't have to hunt for the edges of the image as I zoom in and out. When I was looking at a tiny gemstone under magnification, the strain on my neck and eyes was minimal, even after a half-hour session. That's a practical win for anyone who spends long periods on detail work: electronics hobbyists, watchmakers, or even hobbyist model builders. The articulating boom stand is another place where the product delivers beyond the spec sheet. The V7 arm can be repositioned in 3 axes, and the removable center arm lets you lock the whole thing into a more compact footprint when you need to clear the bench for other tools. I found myself moving the microscope from a fixed, overhead position to a low-angle view while I was checking a small mechanical part that sat on a tray. The transition was quick, and the boom held the weight without any wobble. If you're running a small shop where space is at a premium, that flexibility translates into real time saved. Now let's talk about the downsides, because no product is perfect. The first thing I noticed was the weight of the boom and the microscope head. It's sturdy, but that also means you need a solid surface. A flimsy desktop will start to flex after a while, and that can introduce a subtle shake that's noticeable at higher magnifications. Also, the LED ring light, while bright, doesn't have a dimming knob that offers fine-grained control. I ended up using a small external diffuser to tone down the glare when I was looking at reflective surfaces like polished metal parts. If you're dealing with highly reflective materials, you might want to budget for a simple diffuser or a different lighting setup. Another practical point is the cable management. The power cord for the LED ring is fairly thick, and the microscope's own cable routing is a little clunky. When I tried to route everything neatly under the bench, the cord would snag on the boom's pivot points. It's a minor annoyance, but if you have a clean room or a space where cable clutter is a real concern, you'll need to plan a bit of extra space for that. Who should consider buying this microscope? If you're an electronics hobbyist who routinely inspects solder joints, a jeweler who needs a reliable view of stone settings, a watch repair enthusiast, or even a teacher looking for a sturdy demonstration tool, the Omano OM99 V7 hits the sweet spot. Its zoom range is broad enough for most hobbyist applications. The binocular eyepieces reduce eye fatigue, and the articulating arm provides the flexibility you need on a crowded workbench. The lifetime limited warranty and phone support also give a safety net that's rare at this price point, which can be reassuring if you're investing a few $100s. Who might want to skip it? If you're after a microscope for extreme microphotography or need ultra-high magnification above 50 times, you'll be pushing the instrument beyond its intended sweet spot. Also, if you need a portable unit to take to field sites, the weight and the size of the boom make it less convenient than a compact, handheld stereo microscope. And if you work in an environment